really amazing training today about this thing. How do we do that with just one length of tubing? Me and Heidi are gonna tag team.
This is the overtone series that Mars just played for you. Horn players generally understand that the overtone series contains the notes that we can play without changing vowels. As you can see, we've got these first 16 notes of the harmonic series. We generally use the term overtones, harmonics, and partials interchangeably, but technically they are different. The first note of the series is the fundamental, and all notes above that are called overtones. So when counting the notes of the series, we generally start with one, but one technically is not an overtone, so we should call the notes harmonics because harmonics begin counting with the fundamental note as one. This way we're all clear on what note we are talking about. The notes in the series are also called partials. So I'd like you all, I'm assuming everybody is muted, just warm up a little bit on your horns, playing on your open F horn just to feel your overtone series. You feel free to use some TCE in the process.
I feel warmed up.
Awesome. So in order to understand why the horn can play multiple tones on the same length of tubing, you need to know a little bit of physics on how sound is produced on a horn. And I know a very little bit about this. Very little. So the F horn is about a 12-foot conical tube. This tube naturally vibrates at about 87.3 vibrations per second, which are also called hertz. A hollow tube has air sitting in it naturally. When air is blown into this tube, it causes the air pressure inside of the horn to increase. This disturbance causes vibrations to occur. These vibrations create sound. When we blow air into the horn, we change the air pressure in the tube, which causes a sound wave to form. When the vibration wave arrives at the end of the bell, it hits another change of air pressure. And that change in pressure makes the wave bounce back into the tubing, and it hits our lips and causes our lips to vibrate. It's not unlike dropping a stone into a pond of water, which adds pressure, and then you can watch the waves, which is a disturbance, move out until it hits the shoreline, and then it bounces off the shoreline and comes back at you. So what's interesting for me is to understand that we don't need to create we don't have to force a buzz on our lips to create this vibration. I want you to explore this. First thing I want you to do is grab your horn, and I want you to right into your horn and make a sound, which you'll get a sound. Yeah, Susan got it. Awesome. And the next thing I want you to do is to have your horn close, take your mouthpiece off, and I want you to form an embouchure, but don't make a buzz. Just blow some gentle air through it, and when you're doing it, attach it to your horn. So you get... See what happens. Anybody want to talk about what they observed?
I can.
Yeah.
So what I see is I'm forming an embouchure. I'm blowing air, letting there be an aperture between my embouchure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting it in the horn.
Oh,
And
you didn't
air
get a
can...
buzz. Interesting.
No, no.
Huh, I get one immediately. See if you make the aperture smaller, see if it works.
I mean, if I'm practically buzzing on the mouthpiece.
Yeah,
But the reason for that,
just allow it to happen.
I mean, I don't want to derail this, but I think that there's such a difference in the amount of pressure required to start a note is the reason that if we get close to starting a note on the mouthpiece, it would start a note on the horn.
Okay.
But due to the fact that you can inhale and play through a horn as well on an inhalation, it's not about putting air through a horn. It's about putting having
Cha-
sound connected to the horn.
right, yeah, it's you're
Yeah.
changing the air pressure, which is going to
Changing the
create.
air pressure, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like when you know, you're changing that air pressure. If I had a big tube here and smacked it, you'd probably hear a tone come out.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So obviously, we can change what the pitch of the vibration is using our lips, and we'll explore that a little bit more. So, does it mean that there's no value in practicing buzzing if the note will come out automatically? I would say no. I think we can train our lips to feel the sensation of vibration and, what our lips need to do to get specific pitches. I mean, we don't necessarily sing into our horns unless you're Mars. And you still get a lot of benefit from that. So now that we know that you can create a sound wave inside your tubing, let's explore this a little bit more. So any length of tubing has its own resonance frequencies. First, there's the fundamental frequency, and then there are overtones above that note. These overtones are present when we're playing. They sound like a chord, but they're really, really hard to hear. The overtones are present, and they're what make a horn sound like a horn, and an oboe sound like an oboe because different overtones are more prominent. So you may ask yourself, well, do overtones have overtones? They do not. They're sine waves. So let's take a look at the relationship of the different overtones. So the fundamental is vibrates as a whole. The second harmonic, if you take the vibrations per second, like in this one, you'll see it's 87.3. The second one is double that. So the second harmonic is 2 times that. Whenever a harmonic is doubled, you will get an octave. Fun fact. So the third harmonic, not surprisingly, is 3 times the frequency of the fundamental. The fourth harmonic is 4 times that. So you can probably see on the chart the little different bumps, and that's how many times you're going to multiply.
And I'm
So
gonna jump in for a second here.
yes,
This is
yes.
this is really beautiful. So if you can see, and this is really demonstrable, for example, on a stringed instrument. If you imagine a string on a cello, and the entire length of the string would create a tone. If you
That's
cut the string in half with your finger,
right,
it would be an
exactly. When you
octave higher. And then as you can go up to this, we see the next octave is again just cutting this one in half.
that's
And then
correct.
the next octave is cutting that one. Oh, we don't have the next octave, but
But you have the third
good.
harmonic and oh wait,
We
and
have
the
this
sixth
one
harmonic, which are octaves, because they're
exactly.
3 times 2 is 6.
This one right there. So the G and the G. So everything, it's basically double per octave.
That is
Double
correct.
per octave. Double the hertz, double the wave, half the wavelength. All
Double
right,
the
thanks,
fun.
Heidi.
Yeah. So if you'd like, I can show you. I can demonstrate real quickly. I think you'll be able to pick it up on the microphone. How all the notes are vibrating when you're playing. It's you hear a note, but you hear lots of notes because I can real quickly just play into the piano, and you'll hear the other notes vibrate sympathetically. Do you want to hear that real quickly? Do that real fast. So
Try it.
if I were to play. Can you hear those?
We can't really hear it, Heidi. Let's
Oh,
let's
darn.
skip that.
Okay, it was a try. It's quite loud here. That's why I thought you might be able to hear it. All right, we go on. So I'm now going to show you a visualizer of the harmonic series. What's interesting is that the taller the wave is, that's the amplitude, the louder it would be, and the closer the wavelengths are, the crests are to each other, the higher the pitch. So let me show you. Where is it? There it is. Okay, so here, can you see this all right? Yes? Okay, so
Yep.
now this time in this picture, the fundamental is at the top, and you can see the wave, just one string, and it's going to sound like, there we go. And then when you see the second one, you see two bumps. Oops. And do you see the two different crests there, and then three? You see the three? Yes?
Yep.
So it's interesting anyway. Let me turn them off.
Now, so you'll notice that this is exactly. Can you do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8?
I can.
So that's just B flat horn. If you just push down your B flat horn. And that seventh harmonic is the fun one.
Yes, but it sounds in tune even though it is an out of tune note.
Because it's physically in tune with the physics of the universe. It's out of tune with the equal tempered system.
Right, and it's fun to get your ear around just temperament. It really is.
Yep.
So I am going to go back to the presentation. And okay, so yeah. A horn is an instrument that is closed on one end. Closed end tubes only resonate on the odd harmonics, but due to the horn's conical shape, the bell flare and the mouthpiece, all of the partials can be played, similar to an open-ended tube. I am not a physicist, so that's really all I can say about it. If there's any physicists in the house, talk to me later. I would love to know more about that. Oops. Sorry. Let's go to the next one. Okay. So I did it again. So we, you know, we already said that oh, did I already say that? No. Hold on. Did I miss something? I am out of order. There we are. Sorry, my bad. Okay, we manipulate the way we play with our lips and airspeed in order to bring out specific harmonics that we want to resonate. Our lips interact with the sound waves in the tube and catch the notes that resonate. So no matter what the first note is, you can see in the bottom chart, the relationship between the harmonics always stays the same. There's going to be the octaves, there's going to be a perfect fifth, there's going to be a fourth. So I'd like you to experiment on your horn by taking any note in the overtone series and bend it either up or down until it pops into the next slot. And because it really feels when you bend that the horn wants to vibrate there. You
There's a
feeling
little bit
that?
of leeway, but you cannot really play too much outside. The physics, you can't argue with the pipe.
No, you got to respect it.
Yep.
Okay, so we already talked a little bit about the horn being out of tune, and this chart shows you the pitch tendencies of the harmonics. So you'll see the little numbers like plus 2C, that means 2 cents sharp, and minus 14C means minus 14 cents flat. Go ahead.
A cent is a 1/100th of a semitone.
And I was just about to say that.
Oh, great.
Awesome. Some of the harmonics are a little out of tune, but there are some notes that are way too out of tune to easily be corrected to play, to be used in regular music. Historically, you probably already know this. The first horns were limited to playing only the natural harmonics, and they would really be limited to the notes that were playable, usable. Until hand horn technique came and allowed for both correcting of the out of tune harmonics and getting notes outside of the harmonic series. So what I'd like you to do is explore the pitch a little bit by playing harmonics 8 through 10. I'm sorry, 8 through 12 on the natural F horn, and then I want you to play C, D, E, F natural, G on your regular fingerings and just hear the differences. Just explore that, the tone quality differences and the pitch, how it resonates.
You're talking about C, D, E, F, G on
Yeah,
the.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
So if I play it, the normal fingerings we use for that. If I do it all on the harmonics, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah, it feels different. It sounds different. Yeah, I just think it's interesting to compare them.
Now I want to add something in here that this 14 cents, 2 cents, 31 cents, this is like a pure physical Plato's cave ideal model here.
Yeah, that
And
is correct because in the real
yeah,
world, your horn is going to do different things.
yeah. And they maybe, depending on your mouthpiece as well, can widen or narrow the distance between intervals.
And,
But
and,
in
and
general, this is
yeah.
why if you look at the fifth harmonic, for example, and the sixth harmonic in particular, these are usable notes. We very often will play our E in the treble clef right here, F horn open, but it's a little flat. The G's a little bit sharp. Now,
But knowing this, it helps us make decisions on how we finger things. If I was playing a C major chord
exactly,
and I was playing the third, I absolutely would play it on the F side. I wouldn't have to do anything. There it is, in
because
tune.
it's supposed to be 14
14
cents
cents
flat
flat.
anyway to be perfectly
Yeah.
in tune with just intonation. So yeah, we want to use the harmonic series to our advantage, unlike a string player that has to find exactly the right third. We can just choose the right fingering that's exactly in tune for the chord that we're playing.
Yep. Yeah, I don't have to say the next part. We already did it. Cool. So here's a fun chart. This talks a little bit about B flat side versus the F side. So we choose to play high notes on the B flat side because number one, the horn is shorter. It's easier to play high notes on a shorter tube. And because the same notes sit on the harmonic series in a different place, and it's a lower place where the notes aren't so close, and that helps us play more accurately. The higher up the series, the closer the notes become. So you can see here where the F and the B flat horns harmonic series overlap on some notes. I consider the F sharp on the F horn as an F natural because it's kind of smack in the center. It's like, it's a quarter tone, so it could go either way. But notice, take a look on the B flat horn, how many notes are between C4 and C5. And then compare that to how many notes are between C4 and C5 on the F horn.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 notes on the F horn, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the B
Yeah,
flat horn.
yeah, it's different. So the notes are definitely tighter up there on the F horn.
Yeah, not to mention that if you're looking at high C, there's on the F horn, you've got something it's a B that's only 12 cents flat. So a smaller half step away from high C. Above, you've got a C sharp that's flat. And so you've got a really narrow on both sides of the high C on the F horn, whereas on the high C on the B flat horn, you've got partial 11, which is 49 cents flat, is farther away. Partial 13, 41 cents is farther away. That's why it's so much, feels more stable to play that high C5 on B flat horn than
It's easier
F
to
horn.
slot that.
Yep.
Yeah. So, knowing where you are in the harmonic series will help you, choose, fingerings and things like that. It's important. There you go. Okay, so here's a fun thing to do if you have time to do this, Mars.
Yeah, I want to answer Jack's question. Can you go back to the previous?
I can. I did. Yeah, I'm not seeing the chat.
So the thing to really get here is that you can derive the harmonic series, so you don't need to wonder what are the notes of the harmonic series. If you take overtones, so between 1 and 2, the first octave, there's nothing in between. Then between octave number 2, you've got add a note in between C, G, and C. Octave number 3, between C and G, you have one note right in the middle, which is an E. Between G and C, you have one note in the middle, which is a B flat. For octave number 4, between C and E, this previous E right here, you add a note in the middle. Between E and G, you add a note in the middle. Between G and that flat B flat, you add a note in the middle. Between flat B flat and C, you add a note in the middle. So it's the same thing going up one more octave in this harmonic series. Just between the C and the D, there's a half step. Between D and E, there's a half step. Between E and F sharp, there's a half step. F sharp and G, there's a half step. Between G and A flat, there's a half step. A flat and B flat, half step. So it's really quarter tones that get inserted as you arise. And then as you go another octave to C7 to C8, if you would never do that, but don't do that.
You might.
Jack might.
Thank you.
Clear this annotation. Thanks.
Okay. So do we have time to explore this a little, Mars?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, I'd like you to play, 5-10 seconds of either of these passages. The first one's in horn and D. And try them on the F horn and then on the B flat horn. And I want you to just observe how the experience is different or the same.
F horn, B minor mass. B flat horn. Ah, it's like I'm beating the accuracy monster.
You sounded a lot more confident on the second time. Not only more accurate, but more confident.
Well, yeah, I mean, knowing that you're going for, it's like, I don't know, it's like trying to pin like, with the F horn, it's like trying to read fine print without my glasses.
Fair. Okay. All right. Thanks for the demo.
Yeah.
All right. So, we already talked a little bit about the natural horn only being able to play the harmonics that were available, and the horn players would only be able to play in one key unless they had multiple horns until crooks were invented. So, and what they do is they'd add a length of tubing, which would change the length of the horn, which would change the fundamental of the note. Horn parts were always written in the key of C major, with C being the fundamental, and the horn player would just use the correct plumbing to put them in the right key. It was always obvious to them what notes were in the overtone series and what harmonic they would be playing. That's why when you sit in an orchestra, you get a part. It always looks like C. It's for the horn players so that they would know how to play hand horn. Composers were really knowledgeable about this too, because they had to be able to write for horn players. They had to know what the overtone series was. They had to know what notes were playable.
Can you back up to the sheet music for a second?
Oh yeah.
So looking at this Handel Julius Caesar is a great idea. I mean, obviously you see the B minor mass and Julius Caesar are both notated in C major. One of them is meant to be played in a different key. One of them is meant to play in the notated key. But if you look at this first thing in F, when you see, in the B minor mass, you see that first one, what Heidi's saying is that when you see this C, you're actually thinking partial 8. When you see this C, you're thinking partial 16. And so in the same way that we have solfege, and this is going to be partial 15 with a little bit of hand horn, this is 16, this is 8. So you could notate, for example, this would be an easier one to notate. We've got 5, 9, 9, 8, right? So you go to the fifth harmonic on the F horn, the ninth and the eighth. But if I go to the C horn, for example, 1 and 3 on F1 and 3 will give us a C horn. The fifth harmonic. So it's going to be a different pitch, but it's going to be the same harmonics. I just want to make that abundantly clear that that's why we can just change this to in C all of a sudden, but we're still playing a natural horn. We're still playing the fifth harmonic, the ninth harmonic, the ninth harmonic, the eighth harmonic.
Yep, the relationships stay the same.
How many people, I'm just curious, how many people already knew that? Thumbs up if you already knew that. Kind of. Okay. How many people is this new for? New-ish. Okay, cool. Thanks. Just important to cover these bases, but I'm glad you all know it a little bit.
Okay, awesome. Then we'll kind of breeze through where were we? We were there. Okay, so, all right. So the other thing is the composers knew which notes would have to be altered with the hand, and they would write knowing this. And you will eventually run into some pieces where there would have been stopped notes that would have been stopped, and the composers wanted that effect. So knowing the harmonic series gives you that information. And does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. We will go faster. Okay, so then when valves were introduced to the horn, they were meant as a quick ways to change keys instead of stopping and inserting or removing crooks. So I'm not sure how many people, I'm not getting the full view of everybody. If this is something we don't need to cover, let me know. But so as I said, the valves were used as crooks built in. So when you put down the second valve, you're adding a length of tubing that lowers the whole horn by a half step, going from an F horn to an E horn. Then if you added the first valve, it adds the right amount of length to make to drop the whole horn by a whole step, putting it into the key of E flat. And then if you do 1 and 2 together, that's 3 half steps down. That puts you in the key of D. Does everybody get that? So what's important about that is that this is the basis of how we got our fingerings. The fingering chart comes from this. So I'm trying to move a little quicker through this because it's getting late. Okay, so did I go too fast? All right.
Nope, that's good.
Okay, we're good. All right, so the descending sequence of adding lengths of tubing to your horn would be by half step, 2, 1, 1 and 2, which is the same thing as 3. 3, if you go down a half step from 3, you would add 2. So you get 2 and 3, then 1 and 3, and then 1, 2, and 3. So what I would like you to do is to take any note in the harmonic series and go through that sequence, stepping down chromatically, and then try it on another harmonic, just to feel it.
In fact, what's cool, I love this, is to not know what note you're going to play. Just take let whatever note comes out, surprise yourself, and then hold it, say for 2 beats, and then descend with 2, 1, 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 1 and 3, 1, 2, 3. So let's play it together. I'm going to do 2 beats for each note. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to pick another harmonic, random harmonic. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, cool. All right. So the next thing is, if we were to create a fingering chart, what we would do would be to first indicate which notes are usable overtones. So I put a little like diamond over those. So you'll notice I skipped the B flat. That's really not going to be usable for us. And then you do go down the sequence until you hit the next open usable note. So you see the G to the G flat, and then the E to the E flat, and then the D to the D flat, then the C, and then from C you can take it a lot farther. So why don't you play from the C down to the G, and then go to the open note using that sequence. So it's open, 2, 1, 1 and 2, 2 and 3, open, and then do it again. 2, 1, open. Does that make sense to y'all? This is where our fingering chart came from.
Yep.
So if you were ever, I don't know why, this is how I teach my students when they're like, I don't know the fingering. It's like, you can figure it out. So, okay, I'm going to keep going because I think you guys got that. You're smart.
Well, I want to add something here, which is, Heidi, let me share my screen for a second.
Okay.
You know, I recently played a piece in orchestra where we had to use quarter tones. And I thought, well, how do I figure out the quarter tones? How do I actually wrap my brain around this? Well, the place to start that's really nice is with this this B flat, the flat B flat right here. And that's already in between a B flat and an A. So if I play an A and I play a B flat, I can play F0, that 7th harmonics in between. So if I go A half flat, or A half sharp, and then A sharp. And I use that F0 as my intermediate fingering. That gives me a quarter tone in between. And using the partials that we don't normally play and descending from them using the chromatic fingering sequence, I know that, for example, if I want to go between G sharp and A, I just use F2, F1. See, we're descending in the chromatic series here. So it's really useful to be able to derive quarter tones, to understand where these fingerings come from, to be able to choose your most in tune fingerings, all of that.
Yeah.
Back to Heidi.
Okay, let me get back to that share. I think, is this the right one? Yes. Cool. We're wrapping up soon. Okay, so the next thing is just what you were saying. Knowing the natural harmonics can help, can be used, and knowing which ones are out of tune helps us, and in tune helps us choose alternate fingerings, choose the best fingerings for lip trills. And these two charts are already in school, just to let you know, so that you can, and it's the harmonic series on the F side, and on the B flat side it gives you the pitch tendencies and the number of the partial. So yeah, don't even ask how, I don't want to go into it. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So we're gonna practice what Mars was showing us before, which is, okay, we'll just do it. Okay, so this one's for you, John Crumbine. Just say. So, for example, I could, if I wanted to make this famous concerto into a lip slur exercise, I could. Note that this is in horn and E flat, just to remind you guys. Since I know the overtones, I could see that the first 2.5 measures could be played on 1 on the F side. Then the next 2 beats could be played 2 and 3 on the F side. In the 4th measure, the first 2 beats could be played on the B flat side, 1 and 2, and the last 2 beats could be played on the open B flat horn. So like in the first little lick there on the F side, you'd be going 4, 8, doubled, because it's an octave, 5, 10, doubled octave, right? And then 6, 12, doubled again. Those are the partials, if you were wondering what I was saying. So,
Yeah.
Mars, do you want to do the demo or not?
Yeah, let's play through it together. So we'll take it nice and slow. Bum beep da dee da dee. Oh, we'll do it like that. So F1, and you all know how it goes. So just push down the fingerings and play it like it goes, and you'll be amazed. Here we go. One, two, three.
Yay, well done.
It'd be really cool to see this notated all in F horn. You know, like there's that famous Wagner Lohengrin thing where it changes keys like
Oh
every
God, yeah,
4 beats.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, what I found interesting in this one was at the very last note of the F horn thing is the 12th partial, and then when you go to F2 and 3, that is also the 12th partial, and it just kind of I just found that interesting. I don't know.
Huh.
So,
Yeah.
unless I did it wrong, which is
And
possible.
given that Strauss grew up with his father being a horn player, this is an obvious homage to the harmonic series.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And that's what I've got for you. Mars, did you want to add anything? I'm gonna
Yeah, I
stop my
really
share.
do. Thanks, Heidi. Let's first of all, let's give a big hand horn to Heidi. That was an excellent presentation, Heidi. Thanks for putting in the
And
time and
thank you for
sharing
all your
this.
help there.
Yeah. Um, something I want to talk about now is a little bit more practical about, how do you use this? So the first thing, when I was playing in San Francisco Symphony a lot, I was blown away how much that horn section thinks about the chords and what fingerings to use, and in particular thirds and fifths. And John Ring, second horn, would very, very often, just like we would play that third of the chord if it was an E, we'd play an F horn open. Well, if you go a half step above to F, that's often a sharp note if we play it on the F horn. Terrible if you're playing as a third of a D flat major chord. So, but if you know the harmonic series, D flat major, well, that's trigger 2, 3. You can play F, trigger 2 and 3, and then it's the third, 14 cents flat. And so John would use that fingering a lot whenever he needed a slightly lower F fingering, trigger 2 and 3. And then, of course, we know F sharp, trigger 1 and 2, G, trigger 1. So using these things can be very practical. The other thing is for licks. So I'm going to get into some fast playing in a sec. I want to show you some fast playing, but first thing I want to do is talk about how we can use this in our practice. So something that I realized after a long time of thinking is that horn playing is not hard at all. Everyone says the horn is hard, but it's not hard. It's only hard if you think about it wrong. It's only hard if you're trying to play Western equal-tempered music. For example, if you have a beat going and you're just grooving and you can play any note in the harmonic series, well, you can't go wrong, right? Like you literally can't go wrong. You just sound a note. And so then it's really easy. So if we all just take F horn right now and we jam a little bit, and you can just play any note you want. I'm just going to set up a rhythm and you can kind of play with my rhythm. So 1, 2, 3. There's no wrong notes, right? None of you played a note that didn't work with that. And something we can do as horn players is be in a little solidarity with one another and actually play in the harmonic series together to remind ourselves of what it's like to be completely fearless, that no wrong note can come out. Now if we choose a different key, let's say B flat 2, which is the A horn, we're going to do the same thing. So let's try a different beat. Dun, 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 dun. Anybody miss a note? No, you can't miss a note. You're just playing on the harmonic series. So single harmonic series jamming is something that I feel is really healthy practice for us horn players to do. Just get out in nature, sit under a tree, put down a single fingering and play and listen to how nature responds to this phenomenon. It's actually, nature listens when we're not up in our heads trying to play notes from the Western classical. It's really, really profound. Let's take this single series now, C major, and we'll call this the tonic key, the home key. So if we play what's written, we all do work on that and we do our lip slurs. We can use our TCE for that kind of stuff. What I like to do is actually add dominant and tonic relationship. So if we just focus for now on moving between the F horn and the B flat horn, well, F to B flat's a dominant tonic relationship. So go ahead and let's play what's written here. In the first measure, you'll use the F horn. The second measure, you'll use B flat open. So 1, 2, 3. Pretty simple, right? Now, that pattern, all we have to do is just push down, for example, a half step lower, and we can move between the F and the B flat horn and do the same thing. It's just switching the trigger. So let's do that. Half step down. 1, 2, 3. Isn't that nice? We're starting to get a little music. You can even play it really low. For example, if you're moving between the F horn, just on the F horn, we have a fourth as well. So between 1 and 3 and open, we have a fourth difference. So let's start on F1 and 3 and go to F0. That's this second part here. We'll play that. 1, 2, 3. Isn't that nice? So I like to do, for example, if you really want to play around with this and we alternate between F and B flat horns, let's start on the B flat horn and go ba-dee, na-dee, 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 with lip slurs, and then go to the F horn, ya-dee, na-dee, 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 and then B flat horn, ya-dee, na-dee, na-dee, na-dee. And we can just go up the scale like that. It doesn't even matter which harmonics you play. Let's try that. Just so we're alternating between B flat horn and an F horn, starting with B flat. 1, 2, 3. that nice? So you can really move between this dominant tonic relationship and add a lot of richness and harmonic context without having to think. There's literally no wrong notes that you can play. You're just changing your fingering and moving between dominant and tonic. Okay, next up, 3 series, 3 different harmonic series. This is the blues. So, here, let me make this a little bit bigger so you can see the whole thing. And we're going to start right up here where it says 1. So we're going 1, 1, 4, 1, 5, 4, 1, 1, 5, 1 is the harmonic rhythm of the blues. So this 12, kind of the 12-bar blues, but we're doing it in 16 bars, I guess. You get the idea. All right, so let's go. Let's just play this now. All right, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah? Yeah? Thumbs up if we got it, more or less? Awesome. Yeah, so that's a really fun way to use it. And then, oh no, where's the rest of it? It didn't get saved. All right, well, we're going to go to 4 series now. And the 4th series is going to be, it's going to be F. The key is going to be F, E flat, D flat, and C. And the way that we think about this on the B horn is going to be B, 0, that's thumb open, B flat, 1, B flat, 2 and 3, and we can do B flat, 1 and 3, which is the same as what? Same as?
The live behind the live.
As F open. And please keep yourselves muted. Thanks. So let's go ahead and just play these 4 notes here. So as B flat open, B flat 1, B flat 2 and 3. Please, guys, mute yourself. Heidi, if you can mute whoever's talking, it'd be great. So let's play these notes. B flat open F, B flat 1 E flat, B flat 2 and 3 D flat, and F open C. So let's do those in rhythm now. A whole note each. 1, 2, 3. So those are the fingerings. Now what we're going to do is we're going to play. You can TCE some harmonics as you want. I'm going to keep it simple, but I'm going to just rotate and loop around this, and you can join me. It's just these fingerings and see what comes out. So 1, 2, 3. So it's not horn playing if you don't giggle after you do it. So pretty fun, huh? Yeah, I'll put the exercises. I won't put it in the chat, but it'll be in the playback with that. So you can invent all sorts of things, and you can just play with 2, 3, 4 different fingerings. Like for example, what if we do B flat 1, F horn 2, and F horn 1? So think about it, get that in your head right now. What did I say? B flat 1, F horn 2, F horn 1. So I'll put that in the chat. B flat 1, F horn 2, F horn 1. So that's, and we're gonna play F1 twice. So it'll be like B flat 1, F2, F1, F1 will be the sequence. 1, 2, 3. So that's kind of neat, you know, and really it's all about conviction when it comes to making music sound good. As long as you believe in what you're playing, you can make it sound good. If you don't believe in it, it won't sound good. That's the nature of jazz. So that would be my encouragement to you, is really when you're doing your TCE work, do it on a couple different harmonics. Do it on 3 harmonics, 4 harmonics. Get some jams that feel really good. Okay. How are we so far with this? Good? All right, I'm gonna do something a little more challenging now, which is called drop third, the drop third tuning on the harmonic series. So this requires actually knowing where you're at in the harmonic series and knowing when you're playing the 5th harmonic, or what's the octave above the 5th harmonic? The 10th harmonic. What's the octave above the 10th harmonic? The 20th harmonic. What's the octave above the 20th harmonic? The 40th harmonic. It's about knowing when you're on the 6th harmonic or the 3rd harmonic. And what's the octave above the 6th harmonic? The 12th harmonic. Exactly. So if we just take the B flat horn, that's a really easy one to know. And go ahead and play that. And the 5th harmonic is going to be the 3rd of the chord, and it's a major chord. So, first of all, we can move between B flat and F horn and use that 7th harmonic in a fun way. So if we just alternate between B flat and F horn, we can go. Try that. That's nice and speedy. If we, because a thumb, it's just a thumb wiggle. Now all you have to do is, if you want to play that down, sorry about your thumb, Heidi, but if you press a half step down, we have some really, really fast stuff. So I wanted to share that. Next up, going back to the B flat horn and the 3rd of the chord. Well, what happens if we want to lower anything by a half step? What do? Yeah, we add the middle finger, exactly. So what if we want to just lower the 3rd of the chord or the 5th harmonic to have a minor chord? Well, instead of playing, let's just drop that third by playing it a half step lower. So you can go. Yeah, pretty easy, right? You go from major to minor. Now let's try it on trigger 2 and 3. So what's a half step, if you know your chromatic sequence, what's a half step below 2 and 3? Let's show me. All right, 1 and 3. Yeah, 1 and 3. So if we do 2 and 3, a half step below is 1 and 3. So we can go. So we don't even need to know what notes we're playing as long as we know what harmonic we're playing. We don't need to know what notes we're playing in order to get major chord, minor chord. You can get augmented chord if you think about raising a half step of the fifth of the chord, aka the sixth harmonic or the third harmonic. That's pretty cool. And you can do diminished if you drop the third and you drop the fifth, but you keep the tonic. So if we drop the fifth harmonic and the sixth harmonic by a half step, so I believe I had Peter Del Grosso notate this. I'm going to see if I can find it in my archives and put it in the school forum. But this exercise is something that I play pretty regularly, and see if you can just guess what it is. I wouldn't even try and follow along for now, but and so I'm just going, I have the entire major, minor, diminished arpeggios that's like in my fingers, not thinking about what notes I don't even need to know what notes I'm playing. I just know the pattern on the harmonic series. So that's like some real advanced, I think what we call some next level shit when it comes to the harmonic series. And you can make up all sorts of beautiful exercises. Like I have one, and that's all harmonic series. I can just transpose it. Like that. As long as I know what harmonics I'm on, I can play some really pretty stuff. And I kind of like can't lose because that's just following the harmonic series. Is this helpful, everybody? Great. So obviously, as horn players, our journey with this instrument from day one to our last day at the horn is going to involve the harmonic series. It's a very important concept to master, and when it comes to the mind and the intellectual side of French horn playing, I would say this is one of like the most important things to really understand and master, because it gives you choice. It lets you know where on the instrument you are. You want to just not intellectually master it, but know by feel, which harmonic am I on? What's the next harmonic up? What's the next harmonic down? Where am I on the horn? Taste those harmonics. It's our map, it's our fretboard, it's our piano keyboard. It's what gives us our discrete notes. And it gives us some really cool notes that aren't in the Western musical system, but that you can still use to your advantage and that you can still play with and master.